Come, you, come here. I have something I must ask you. Very important, very, very important. Hold on. Why don't you like aglonemas? Why don't you like aglonemas?
I feel like that wasn't my best friend that night. It was the devil.
I am actually low-key shooked that there are people that exist in this world that do not like aglonemas. Because why would you not like a plant that is beautiful, easy, drought tolerant, low maintenance? Why? But anyways, after I show you guys my eclectic Aglonema collection, you see that they are more than just boring office plants. But starting off with an Aglonema that I don't see a lot of people actually talk about, and it's a very interesting Aglonema. It grows very differently from other Aglonemas. Ladies and gentlemen, this beautiful Aglonema here. So I don't quite know her name. In fact, with a lot of aglonemas, I struggle to know their exact name. I'm going to see if I can identify this aglonema before I edit this video. But she is beautiful. And she's not as well known as other aglonemas. In fact, some people will even mistake this for a Dieffenbachia of some sort. Or maybe like a Sigma glottis, that one. Because of the unique leaf shape, it's unlike most aglonemas. And also the unique and distinctive thing about this aglonema is that it is rhizomatic. Hope I got that word right. So unlike other aglonemas that will grow from a new leaf sheet, these actually grow from the ground. So it's basically like a crawling aglonema. It brings out new leaves from the ground. And she's so unique and so beautiful. Look at the material, guys. Now, people are typically under the impression that all aglonemas are low light tolerant. Well, no, not all of them. Some actually require way more bright light than others. Some will absolutely not tolerate even any form of low light and they will quickly get leggy, whereas some can actually even take direct sun. I'm going to mention the various ones that can do any of these things in this tour. But this one, she absolutely will not take direct sunlight. And I feel like this one would make a great indoor plant. I grow most of my aglonemas outdoors, but some I grow indoors, and some make excellent indoor plants, whereas some require more highlight. So this one will make a great indoor plant, I will speculate, because she doesn't like direct sun. Absolutely also doesn't like to be in hot places. She loves it cool and shaded, and deep shade preferably. Look at the material, guys. Look at the material. How come, you see? How can you not love this? Let's move on. Let's move on to another one of my personal favorites. Let's go. Hang on, this one's a bit heavy. Oh my god. This big mama here. Oh dear Lord, she's heavy and she's growing in heavy soil. I don't know the name of this aglonema. I think it's an aglonema pink moon. However, when I Google pictures of the pink moon, it looks completely different from this. That's the thing. There are so many different aglonema hybrids. I feel like some haven't even been ID'd or identified. During the course of this video, you also notice that some of my aglonemas are heavier than others, while some are lighter. And that's because some I have noticed are actually not picky about the type of soil you grow them in, especially the more common variants that you can find locally here. They tend to be really hardy and do not care about the type of soil you grow them in. So these ones that are heavier, I pretty much grow them in roadside soil that is slightly amended, and they absolutely do not seem to mind it. However, I've noticed that some of the rarer varieties and newer ones, newer hybrid coming out, they're very fussy and very picky. You're going to see some of them during the course of this video. And for those ones, I grow them in my premium iconic potting mix. Also, remember how I told you that certain aglonemas are more low light tolerant than others? Well, this sis needs brighter light than other aglonemas, and that's because it has the tendency to get leggy very fast. So some aglonemas get leggy really fast, and there's nothing as frightening looking as a leggy aglonema in my opinion. So they will get leggy if they're not being given enough light, whereas some will stay compact regardless of the light condition. They just may not grow as much. Let me put her down. She's heavy, but appreciate her beauty. Appreciate her beauty, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? All right. Oh, Jesus, let me catch my breath. Now, speaking of an aglonema that doesn't get leggy, and to me, I feel it's just like the perfect aglonema, whether you're growing her indoors or outdoors. And it's actually one of my favorites and one of my oldest aglonemas. I couldn't bring her with me here because she's heavy. She's in a heavy pot and in heavy soil, but I'm going to insert B-rolls. Ladies and gentlemen, this one, I do know her name. She's an Aglonema Snow White or Snow Queen. Oh Lord, I've had this Aglonema for 4 years. I remember when I first got her, I didn't like her because she is a very common Aglonema in Lagos. She's very common, and I just thought, oh my God, this is a very common plant. But I was convinced by a friend, and I was just blown away by how easy this plant is. The beauty of Aglonemas really becomes more profound when they are like full in a pot, when they produce so many pops and they are full. Ah, it's such a beautiful sight. So she's in an area where she actually gets medium light and she doesn't mind at all. No sign of legginess. Absolutely beautiful. And this one I've also noticed will tolerate even some direct sunlight to a certain degree. Nothing too harsh, just something more like morning direct sunlight. So she's one of my personal favorites and one that I always recommend to beginner plant parents. Now, moving on to another agreement that I love but has the tendency to get leggy really fast as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this babe here, she is an Aglonema Kuchin. Yeah, Kuchin. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. So in the Aglonema world, there are so many different varieties of the Kuchin. This is then the Aglonema red Kuchin, I believe. There's the pink Kuchin. There's the other Kuchin that is like extremely red. That's the one I've been looking for, but it's so expensive and so elusive to find here in Nigeria. So this is the more common Kuchin that you find here in Nigeria. She's absolutely beautiful. The only thing about this plant is that it has the tendency to get leggy very fast. So if you're growing her indoors, she has to be right next to a window, or you need to have some form of overhead light or grow light above, else cis will just get leggy. Another thing I want to mention is that I never allow my Aglonemas flower, because if you allow your Aglonemas flower, it takes away a lot of the energy they use to produce leaves, and you might not end up with a very bushy Aglonema. You just end up with an Aglonema that's just producing flowers. We grow them for their foliage, not for their very basic looking flowers. Now, moving on to another Aglonema variety that I love, but I do not know her name. I don't know the name of this Aglonema. Please, if you know the name, please let me know. But she's absolutely gorgeous. Also, she's also one that isn't very like common here. And that's because this variant, I feel like people can easily mistake it for one that they have or another Aglonema, because a lot of these Aglonemas tend to look alike and the same. It's only collectors like myself that like appreciate the differences. But you know, for others, it might be like, this looks like my regular Aglonema. And one thing about some variegated Aglonemas is that the deeper they are in shade, remember, shade does not equate to low light. Please, the deeper they are in shade, the richer and more vivid their variegation will be. And I feel like this is a great example, because look at this one, the top that is exposed to more bright light. Notice how it's not as variegated as this corner here, this that was in shade, you know, being blocked by the bigger foliage. So yeah, that's just worthy of note. Please, if you know the name of this Aglonema, please help me ID her. Big up one. All right, so let's move on to the next one, babes. And I hope you're enjoying this tour so far. I hope you've started appreciating Aglonemas for what they really are. If you are, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. The next one is quite a full one. She may not be able to fit entirely into the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my Aglonema Donna Kamen or Donna Karen. I don't know. I'm going to insert the proper name. But she's absolutely gorgeous, is she not? I feel like the camera doesn't do justice to her variegation. And just look at it. Look at it. I love her. I absolutely just love that variegation, especially that line in the middle of the leaf. Absolutely gorgeous. This one was a lot brighter when it was outdoors. I've been growing this one indoors, but when it was outdoors, trust me, guys, the variegation was much more pronounced. Outdoors in shade. I moved this indoors because we had an extreme heat wave this year. Look, climate change is real, guys. Like, because the heat wave we had this dry season was crazy, and a lot of my plants were severely burnt. So I moved her indoors. But now, thank God, it's the rainy season, so sis has been brought outdoors, and hopefully she will get to be as vivid as she once was before. But in the meantime, she still looks gorgeous, does she not? Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. As regards how I care for all my Aglonemas, honestly speaking, they're so low maintenance that all I do is provide shade for them and water them whenever I remember. Honestly, they are really drought tolerant. They will appreciate if you water them regularly, but you don't ever feel any pressure to take care of these guys. The only challenge I've had has been skills. I talked about this in my previous video about pests These guys are extremely prone to a particular type of skill that can also honestly decimate them. I talked about that in that video, so I'm not going to address it here. Go and watch that video. Watch that video. So you know how to prevent that terrible skill from decimating them, because honestly, it can really decimate your entire Aglonema collection. But yeah, gorgeous. Yeah, moving on to the next one. I want to focus on all the ones in bigger pots before I proceed to the smaller ones, and then we can sit down. This next one is one of my personal favorite guys. This is an Aglonema Queen, and one thing I absolutely love about this one is even though she's highly variegated and has that pink like yellow hue, she's still a very fast grower, because some of the challenge with these variegated Aglonema, the ones that like are more colorful, is that they tend to be quite slow growing. But not this one. This is a fast grower and a prolific popper. She had a very beautiful silhouette before, but my garden assistant actually damaged some leaves. Oh, her silhouette was so beautiful before, but hopefully she gets fuller and covers up the damaged bit. But I must say, she's absolutely gorgeous, is she not? Look at the material. Look at the material. Beautiful. So yeah, Aglonema Harlequin, guys. This Aglonema, I don't know her name, babes. I don't know her name. All I know is that she's absolutely gorgeous, Gorgina. If you're wondering why there's a pole in the middle of this Aglonema, I will tell you why. People don't realize this, but with certain Aglonemas, as they grow, they tend to become really top heavy and they may not be able to support themselves. For those Aglonemas, I just attach a pole.
So, madam, your wedding cake is ready. I will make sure I deliver it 8 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Jesus! Jesus! Jesus!
As the Aglonema grows, it fills the pole up and you can barely even see it. So yeah, you rarely see one this fully grown in Nigeria. They usually sell like the smaller pops of this. Beautiful, is she not beautiful? Now let's move on to one of my personal favorites and one that makes a very fantastic indoor Aglonema. Let's proceed. My Aglonema Alumina. I absolutely love this Aglonema, guys. I love that it looks so unique. I love the chubby, round and fat leaves, and I love the silver hue of the leaves. She looks really different from a lot of Aglonemas, and like I said, she makes a very good indoor plant. She doesn't actually like places that are too bright. She prefers deep shade, to medium light, and doesn't have the tendency to get as leggy like some of the other Aglonemas I have shown you. So yeah, definitely get into it. I don't see anyone in America talk about this Aglonema. I don't know why. Isn't this available in your big box stores? Let's try and get her. She's beautiful. She's unique. She's iconic. She's easy. She's drought tolerant. What's not to love, babes? What's not to love about this one? Gorgeous. Gorgina. Okay, let me put her down because she's also in heavy soil, but let's put her down. Now, moving on to one that also makes a great indoor Aglonema and is also not one that is very common and I feel like a lot of people don't know or talk about. Hold on. This young lady here, this is an Aglonema key line. Let me move her closer so you can have a better appreciation of her variegation. Look at the variegation. And this one, in the right conditions, which is bright light but like shade, deep shade again, will have like a beautiful yellow like middle ring, on its leaf. It's so beautiful. This is a beautiful sight. Now the camera is actually capturing its beauty. This is one that actually does not look well in bright light or overexposure. She loves to be in medium light to like deep shade. And yeah, so this is one that would actually make a great indoor plant as well. And it is also a prolific popper. In fact, I had a very full one, but I sold that one. And this is the pop from the mother plant. And she's also started giving me even more pops. The plan is just to have her get her full. Ladies and gentlemen, look at her. How could you not love this? Aglonema key lime. Get into her. Get into it. Look at the material. Look at the material. Anyways, now that we're done with all the bigger aglonemas, I can actually sit down and show you guys the smaller ones. They are small, cute, petite, but just as iconic. Starting off with one of my personal favorites, this is the Aglonema Ayamani. I almost entirely lost this one to those evil skills that these aglonemas are prone to, but I chopped her back and she has bounced back even fuller. It did take a while, but yeah, just look at the material, guys. Just look at the material. How can oh Jesus, so beautiful, yummy. I love her so much. This one, if you want to get best results, bright light is a must next to a window, or place it close to a grow light if you want it to have that compact, bushy look. Ladies and gentlemen, the Aglonema. Is this Ayamani? Oh, yeah, Aglonema Ayamani. Yes. Next one is one of my personal favorites. This is the Aglonema. I think it's a pink butterfly. I'm gonna see if I can ID this. The problem I have with these aglonemas is that I don't like. They have like one aglonema can have like 50 million names. So as long as I know it's an aglonema, I don't really care to know its specific name. But look at this one. This is absolutely gorgeous. I also almost entirely lost this one to those dreaded scales. I battled those scales on this plant for close to a year. I didn't want to bin it because this one is very rare in Nigeria. Well, it's rare, it's not easy to find. I even have people that are on the wait list for pops of this one, but I don't think I can't separate her. I want her to be a full pot. Look at the beauty. This aglonema is one that prefers to be in shade but can also take direct sun. Like it was outdoors during the intense heat wave that we had, and it didn't die. It's still alive. It didn't die. But I did have to move it to shade eventually, and I think she even looks best in shade. Most aglonemas will look best in shade. Absolutely gorgeous. How can you not like aglonemas? Again, I have to ask. If you followed me for a while on Instagram, you know that my favorite color is pink. Like my entire room is painted pink. So any plant that has pink variegation of pink colors, I love. So this next one is literally called, hang on, the Aglonema Pink Dalmatian. Yes, that's her name. Oh, she's gorgeous. I absolutely love her. She's fairly common here in Nigeria. Fairly common because sometimes you see her, sometimes you don't see her. But you rarely see one that is as full as this. They tend to really sell them when they are small. And when these aglonemas, when some of these aglonemas are just small, they are not beautiful. They are not worthy to be taken pictures of. But the fuller they get, the more beautiful they look. Oh God, beautiful, beautiful. Just imagine a full pot of this. Ladies and gentlemen, the Aglonema Pink Moon. This is also one that tends to get leggy, so you want to grow this next to a window or in bright light. This next one is a bit of a rare one and also like one of my more expensive aglonemas. Ladies and gentlemen, this young lady over here, oh my God, beautiful. Oh my goodness gracious, this is an aglonema. God, I can't remember her name. But like she's absolutely gorgeous. Look at the variegation of those leaves. In the right conditions, this place will turn like a vivid yellow, and it's just going to be like, or rather, a vivid orange, and it's just going to be a beautiful sight to behold. This one is quite rare in Nigeria, and when you do find her, she's very pricey. A lot of these more exotic aglonemas tend to be really pricey, and honestly, as a collector, I've just learned to patiently wait until I can afford them because there's so many agreements to collect. Like there are just so many of them, and if you keep wanting to buy every single one, you're going to end up a broke biatch. Just nothing else to say. She's beautiful, unproblematic, easy, iconic. She's a bit slow growing. Gorgeous, gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, guys. Now, this one, I do know her name, and she's also quite rare here and also expensive. Ladies and gentlemen, the Aglonema Pride of Sumatra. Look at how beautiful this Aglonema is. This one will cost you an arm and a leg in the Nigeria of today. If you didn't know, Nigeria is experiencing like a cost of living crisis. Not to get too deep and economical in this video, but like the price of everything has quadrupled, including plants. Now, this one, the going rate now in Nigeria is quite high. I'm so lucky I got it when it was a little cheaper. She's quite a slow grower, but look at what we have here. Look, we have a new pop. Oh my god, I'm so happy. Like I cannot wait until like this is a whole full pot. I'm conflicted between actually selling the pops and making my money because like I said, they are not cheap in this country. Just look at how beautiful she is. And then look at the back. Look at the back, the burgundy, um, reddish, back coloration. So she's beautiful in front, beautiful at the back as well. Let's move this quality. I feel like she's taking a bit of the shine. It's not your moment to shine, please. Moving on to this babe here. You might look at this babe and say, wait, does this not look a lot like the other Aglonema, the one that is outside and you can't carry? Well, she does look similar to the Aglonema Snow White, but there are some obvious differences. Like this one tends to have more wider leaves. The leaves tend to be a bit wider. And the most obvious difference is that if you look closely, the variegation has like a pink hue to it, especially on some of the newer leaves. It has a pink hue to it. Again, if you grow these guys in the right conditions, like the right amount of shade and like sometimes even direct light, their variegation will be a lot more pronounced and more distinguishable. So yeah, this one is an Aglonema Eta Rose, if I'm not mistaken. Also not an easy one to find in this nation. I feel like it's because it gets mistaken for that other one, which is more common and more like ubiquitous. Another one that is really rare here. This is an Aglonema Orange Sunrise. Everybody wants her. I almost got into a fight with somebody because I sold my last one. She wasn't indicating interest on time. But anyways, Aglonema Orange Sunrise is so beautiful. Extremely slow growing in my opinion. She was a lot bushy and compact, but there's money to be made. So I cut her, rooted the cuttings, and then sold them off. And it's been almost a year since I cut her, and this is like a year worth of growth.
Oh my
So some
God.
of these highly variegated aglonemas tend to be really slow growing, which is why they can be quite expensive. I've also heard, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that they cannot be tissue cultured, which again might explain why you don't see a lot of them or so many varieties like in the States or America where they're very big on tissue culture over there. Beautiful, one of my personal favorites. Next, we have this Aglonema here. I can't remember her name. Somebody help me ID her name previously, but honestly speaking, I cannot remember her name again. This one has been quite slow growing for me for some strange reason. I've seen it in other people's gardens and they say it's very fast for them, but for me, it's quite slow growing, and I don't know why. I feel like I definitely need to change her soil, unpot her, and see what's going on. The variegation on this, it almost looks like very mathematical. Beautiful. Like, I could stare at this all day, guys. Again, how can you not like aglonemas? How can you not like aglonemas? So you notice I don't have a lot of green aglonemas. I tend to prefer the more colorful ones. I do have a few green ones that I don't mind adding to my collection. This is the aglonema. I can't quite remember the name of this one. I have to go back a bit. But I do like her. She's intriguing in the way that her leaves are. Looks like a lance. And it's also not one you see easily. So I had to add her to my collection. She is a very prolific grower. Oh my god. I literally grew this from one small pop and Madame has just grown this much in like a few months. I can just imagine what will happen in by this time next year. She'll be a full bush. But she is gorgeous. I tend to prefer the more colorful ones. But there's some unique all green varieties. I won't even say this one is entirely all green because if you look at the leaf, there is some variegation there. And then, of course, that rim. Aglonemas always have an interesting rim in the middle that just give them a pop of color. I've never grown this indoors, but I would imagine this would actually do well or better indoors than a lot of the other colorful aglonemas because these green aglonemas tend to make great indoor plants. Moving on to one of my most expensive aglonemas, ladies and gentlemen, this aglonema. Yes, this was sold to me as an aglonema Suksomjagbunk. Hope I'm not butchering the name, which is a highly coveted aglonema here and can be very expensive. But it's so hard for you to get an actual one. A lot of the ones sold here aren't actually the Suksomjagsong or whatever they are called. I don't know what aglonema is. I think it's an aglonema red star or red cherry. Either way, it arrived a bit battered and it wasn't even very properly rooted when I got it. But I just got it because I believed it was an aglonema Suksomjagsong, which is very difficult to find. And I spent quite a lot of money for it, more than I do for most of my other aglonemas, and only for me to find out it actually even wasn't what I wanted. But we still love her. I don't have her. I don't have this aglonema, so I'm still gonna cherish it the way it is. If you look, we have some sunburn here from the heat wave we had this year. Thankfully, it's not as extensive, so praise the Lord. I'm curious to see how this one grows as it gets big. I feel like it's going to be a beautiful sight. Now that it's small, it still looks terrible, somewhat terrible, but I believe like in a couple more months, this is a painfully slow growing one though, but in a couple more months, let's just say in a year, it's going to be a beautiful sight to behold. So with some of these aglonemas, you have to be patient because they are very slow growing. Speaking of very slow growing, I have another one that is also painfully slow growing as well. Probably one of my slowest growing aglonemas. This auntie here, this is an Aglonema black ayamani, if I'm not mistaken. So there's the regular ayamani. Hang on, so I'll show you guys the difference. There's the regular ayamani, which is this, and there's this. Can you see why it's called the black or dark ayamani? Because obviously it's an ayamani that has like a darker tone to it. So yeah, so this one, let her have her moment. This one is also very slow growing. Some aglonemas, when you buy them as pops, they are extremely slow growing. They only pick up when they become mature. And I feel like that might be the case with this one because I've noticed that as it started to like mature, it's producing more leaves. And yeah, but she's beautiful. She's a beautiful red. And as she matures, she has this dark hue to the older leaves. I love her so much. Moving on to another one that I've been wanting to collect for a long time. Guys, right now she looks like a hot mess. She doesn't look her best, but just think of what the future holds. For some of these plants, you have to think of what the future holds and not appreciate them for what they look at the moment. Okay? Okay? Get ready. Just get ready, ladies and gentlemen. This is my Aglonema
Sorry
tricolor.
for the laugh.
She's not really tricoloring, guys. She's not really looking her best. Yeah, but but I'm just going to keep being patient and just just look forward to what the future holds. I got her for a really good price because these guys can be very expensive here in Nigeria, but I was able to get this one from the grower for a really decent price, so I'm not really complaining. I'm just going to be patient. So I think that's it, guys. I think we have come to the end. I honestly thought I had a lot more Aglonemas. This has just inspired me to go and buy more. To go and buy more. But I really hope you enjoyed this video and I hope I was able to convince you that aglonemas are not basic biatches. A lot of them are actually very unique. A lot of them are iconic. A lot of them have different characteristics. And just go out there and get an aglonema. Appreciate aglonemas a lot more. You will not regret it. Thank you and see you in the next video, babes. Bye.